Hi, my name's Linda Mansfield, and I'd like to thank you for clicking on this video. And I'd also like to thank the Heartland Society of Women Writers for the opportunity to share my work with you. I have a website for my writing at lindamansfieldbooks.com. I'm on Facebook at Linda Mansfield-author, and I'm on Twitter on Restart LM Author. I have a background as a journalist, and I've written lots of magazine and newspaper articles, and I've edited several books and written 4 of them myself. The books that I've written are a collection of seasonal short stories for men and women, teenagers through senior citizens. Each book has a baker's dozen or 13 stories in it. I started with stories for the 12 days of Christmas, and then I expanded those characters into 12 stories for spring, 12 stories for summer, and 12 stories for fall. My goal in this little adventure was to give people short reads for relaxation and stress relief. And reading a short story doesn't take nearly as much time as reading a novel, so I was hoping they could fit it into their days. My next attempt at fiction is a middle grade novel. That's not for middle schoolers, that's for kids aged 8 through 12. This is my first attempt at writing a children's book. Well, that's not really true. It's my second attempt, but it's the first concerted effort that I think will actually see publication. So right now the manuscript is out for critique and some beta reading, and I've done 2 drafts so far. I don't know if there will be more drafts that I have to do after that or not. That's where the feedback comes in. So this children's book has a Christmas theme, but it's about the environmental crisis, breaking bad habits, and gumption. Its working title is Emma and the Reindeer. Here's the elevator pitch. Global warming is destroying the magic lichen Santa's reindeer need to eat in order to fly, jeopardizing both Christmas and the Earth. A girl is recruited to travel to the North Pole to interview Santa's reindeer and write a children's book to encourage kids to conserve our natural resources. After an accident, a couple of false starts, and some procrastination, she musters up enough gumption to write the book. But will it be enough to convince other people to change their ways too and make saving the environment a priority? I thought I'd read you the first chapter. I'm not sure if this is the final version of the first chapter or not, but I think it's pretty close. So here goes. Emma and the Reindeer, Chapter 1, Grandma Hazel. The tiniest woman I'd ever seen was nestled in the sheets of my bed. She wore her hair in a bob cut, parted down the middle. One side of her hair was neon green, and the other side was neon red. The 2 colors met at her part and also in the middle of her forehead because she had bangs. It gave her a very divided look. She was only a little bigger than my calico cat, Pansy. Usually Pansy hides when a stranger is around, but she was purring and leaning against the woman, who was petting her while she looked straight at me. "Hello, Emma. Don't be afraid," she said. I just stood by the side of my bed and continued to stare. The blue numbers on my alarm clock on my nightstand read 1:05 a.m., which was the same time it had said when I got up to go to the bathroom. I knew I was wide awake now, though. I could faintly smell something spicy, like peppermint. The tiny woman flipped some of her hair on both sides over her ears, which were tipped at the end like Dr. Spock in those old Star Trek TV shows and movies. She was wearing an old-fashioned forest green vest and a cream-colored blouse. The blouse was embroidered all over with candy canes, which was odd since it was March. She also wore a long brown tweed skirt and slippers made of gold taffeta. The slippers turned up at the toes into little hooks. Little gold tassels dangled from each hook, and each tassel also had a little gold bell. She was smiling at me. Something about her told me she was very old, but her face had no wrinkles. Her eyes were bright and almost joyful, like she was one of those people who are always happy. I swiped across my right eye with my right index finger and shook my head. Who are you? How did you get in my bedroom? I'm going to call 911. I thought about throwing the covers over her and making a run for Mom and Dad's bedroom. There was no way I'd make it to my brother Jacob's bedroom. It's on the other side of the house, although unfortunately we do share a bathroom in the middle. I eyed the baseball bat on the floor near my closet. In a pinch, I thought I could reach it for some sort of protection. But the woman didn't seem like she wanted to hurt me. I've waited a long time to meet you, she said quietly. I'm your grandma, Hazel Gallagher. 15th great-grandma, to be exact. I didn't know what to say. Something about her smile and her matter-of-fact tone made me think she was telling the truth. If she really was a relative and she'd waited a long time to meet me, I thought I should try to be hospitable. Would you like a glass of water? I asked. Sorry, my room is such a mess. Mom had asked me to put some of my stuff away this afternoon, but I told her I'd do it tomorrow. No, I'm fine, dear. Thank you anyway, said Great-Grandma Hazel 15 times over. Let me get right to the point. I'm here because I have an important job for you to do, should you be willing. What is it? Santa and I, and really all of us, were very impressed with the book you started to write last summer, she said. Nobody knows about that book, I interrupted. I never finished it. It's a secret. And who? Santa? Nobody believes in Santa Claus. Santa knows everything, child, Grandma Hazel said, undaunted. The manuscript is in a brown box right now, under your bed. She was right. I looked at the clock on my nightstand. It was still the same time it was when I got up to go to the bathroom, 1:05 a.m. Are you an elf? Do you live at the North Pole? I asked. Santa's workshop, which is a whole kingdom, is always near the North Pole, but the kingdom moves, Grandma Hazel said. We have to take measures to keep our location a secret. The North Pole itself is all ice. It constantly floats on top of the Arctic Ocean, she continued. We move not only to keep those nasty satellites from discovering us, but because sometimes we need to be on land so our animals can graze. Other times, the kingdom floats above the surface of the earth, just beyond the northern lights. It's really quite remarkable. I fingered the bottom hem on my pajama top. I was wearing my favorite PJs, the blue ones with pink flamingos on them. We talked about those lights in science class, I said. They're beautiful. Yes, they are, Grandma Hazel agreed. I figured there would be more. I was right. I've come to see if you would be willing to undertake an important assignment that could save both Christmas and the earth, Grandma Hazel said. Is that all? I thought. I'm just a girl. I'm 11 and a half, I cautioned. Never say you're just a girl, Grandma Hazel corrected. Girls are wonderful. But I digress. We need a boy or girl who can conduct some interviews and write a book to set the record straight on a few things and to convince children to take measures now to save the environment and life on Earth as we know it. It will also save Christmas. Santa's reindeer need to eat magic lichen all year in order to fly on Christmas Eve, and with the climate change, they are having trouble getting enough of it. It was a lot to think about. Why a book, and why do you want a kid to write it? Books are good because you can read them anywhere, and even if children don't have any money, they can read books for free from libraries, she said. And as for why a kid should write it, it's because the grown-ups haven't done a very good job in protecting the environment, Grandma Hazel continued sadly. We're seeing bad changes firsthand because the sea is warming. Then that transfers to bad things happening on land because everything in the environment is interconnected. The Earth's only hope is the next generation, and we feel a member of it would be best to relate the message most urgently. Oh, is all I said in reply. Grandma Hazel was unfazed. Yes, she continued, And considering that your book is about global warming, we thought you'd be the perfect author if you'd be willing to do it. My book was about global warming. I blinked. I don't know if I can finish writing a whole book, I said. That's a lot of pages. We're sure you can do it if you try, and you will do a wonderful job, Grandma Hazel said. We'll have Santa read it before you send it to an agent or a publisher to be sure it's correct and no secrets he doesn't want to be divulged get out. Santa is jolly, but he is very secretive. I don't know, I said, shaking my head. I want to be a writer someday when I grow up, but I'm just a kid. I get A's in English and I love to read, but writing a whole book is very hard, especially for someone my age. We know you can do it if you try, Grandma Hazel repeated. I fished for some more time. Why didn't you just call or email me rather than break into our house in the middle of the night? This is a very important assignment, she said. I wanted to be able to speak to you about it in person with no distractions. And people usually get freaked out when they meet an elf, so I have to always be careful. I'm a little freaked out now, I admitted. You're doing fine, Emma, she said. She was so, positive. I would get to the North Pole? I would get to go to the North Pole? If there really was a Santa Claus, this would be a real scoop. Yes, we want you to interview all of Santa's reindeer because they want to have the record set straight on a few things. Like what? Like all the reindeer on Santa's team are girls, Grandma Hazel said. It's girl power that makes Santa's sleigh fly. That and magic lichen. Wow, that's cool, I thought. I always thought they were boy reindeer. And what is lichen? We knew you'd have a lot of questions, Grandma Hazel said, pleased. You have a reporter's mind. So, will you do it? I have to ask my mom, I said. Normally that is true, but the less people who know about this at first, the better, Grandma Hazel said. I am able to make time stand still, so when we get back it will still be 1:05 a.m. on March 6th. Your life outwardly will go on just as if we'd never met. I will get you back safe and sound like you've never left your bedroom. You can do that? Do you have a magic wand? I have powers, but I'm an elf, not a fairy godmother, dear. Our golden retriever, Sir Charles, must have heard us talking because he was on the other side of my bedroom door, whining to be let in. Is that a dog? Grandma Hazel asked, looking concerned. Yeah, he wants in, I said. I like cats, but sometimes I have to put dogs in their place because they can be too rough with elves, she said. I could tell she wasn't anxious to meet Sir Charles. She seemed ready to wrap up our discussion. So, do you trust me? Will you come with me, interview the reindeer, and write the book? I thought hard and I thought fast. She did know about the beginning of my book in the brown box under my bed. She knew it was about global warming. She had a very trustful face. Pansy liked her, and Pansy is afraid of everything. I didn't want to be a baby, and my clock still said 1:05 a.m. I thought about the saying on the cover of my new notebook. When opportunity knocks, answer. I'll do it, I said. So that's the beginning of Emma and the Reindeer. Thanks for listening, and I'd love if we could connect on social media.